Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 449 for the 18th of May. And this, for those that are watching on YouTube or Rumble, this is the delayed telecast. The latest, the moment you can see this when it's published is actually on be part of the DPA army, become a DPA sergeant, officer, or general. You for those that are on Rumble, you can actually subscribe as a supporter on locals, Defense Politics Asia's locals. You can find the link below if you are watching on Rumble. And for those that are from Russia or from sanctioned lands, you can actually support me on boosty.to, links below as well. And for the rest of the world, you can support me on Patreon or coffee.com. And let's start off with from the southern front. In Crimea, there's a train track sabotage near the town of Kristenke, which is just off Simferopol. And this train was blown up. Five of the cars was derailed, and the entire stretch of the the railway line has been suspended. So so far the preliminary data was that it's actually a sabotage, and yeah, has to be, right? So other than that, moving on in the rest of the southern front, in the Kherson region or Mykolaiv region, that we don't have anything. Moving into the Zaporizhia line, at the Zaporizhia line there's a Ukrainian Mi-8 shot down over Novopalivka. This is reported by the Russian Defense Ministry. And there is nothing else. Yeah, there's nothing else over at the Zaporizhia line. So moving on into the Donetsk front. At the Donetsk front, we have shelling being reported at Voleda, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported fighting over at Novomikhailivka as well as at Marinka. So this is still as usual. Nothing really particularly special about this. So the Russian forces continue to be attacking Marinka and Novomikhailivka in this region here. This has been ongoing for like forever. It's really like, it's been months, and they literally, the front line don't really change at all. Moving into the northwest part and northern part of Donetsk city, which is here, this Donetsk city. In the Avdiivka front, we have fighting reported at Pervomayske, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and as well as towards Zheveny. So Zheveny is here, and Pervomayske is here. So Pervomayske, currently half of it is still under effective Ukrainian control, and or rather pretty much no man's land in between here. And the Ukrainians continue to send troops to try to defend this area while the Russians try to attack. Basically, it's similar situation as Marinka. It's just there for them to play, football, or tennis and badminton. Both sides just doesn't feel like they are serious about capturing the town. And there's this fighting at Zheveny is something have not happened for quite some time. I think quite some weeks. The Russians have not been trying to attack Zheveny for some time now. And moving on, there's nothing else in the Avdiivka front. There's, as usual, there's nothing at New York front. Moving on into the Bakhmut front. At the Bakhmut front, the Ukrainians have reportedly attacked Klishchiivka. And according to Ryba, the Russians has been pushed several hundred meters backwards due to the Ukrainian offensive. The exact place where the offensive is happening is unclear. And we're also not too sure where exactly is the withdrawal coming from. Where's the vector of attack is kind of unclear. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry continues to just say that it's the Russians that is doing the attacking. So not very good, no good faith there. The Russian Defense Ministry reported shelling at Chasivya as well as at Bodanivka. Is it zoomed enough? Yeah, it's already zoomed. Yeah, so at Bodanivka. So these two locations continue to be shelled by the Russian forces. And yeah, it just only shows that there is still Ukrainian forces are gathering in those positions. And moving into the Bakhmut city itself, there is some major updates. the Russian forces have broke through the last line of defense, which is here, and they have captured the entire junction region of Kromove. So the Kromove is currently still under Ukrainian control, but the Russians have broken through this, actually stopped the usage of this road and the road towards Chasiv Yar from through via Kromove. So the Ukrainian forces that are currently, they are still at this position, as the Russian forces also captured the entire of the Citadel region. With the last sector, the Domino sector, has been captured by the Russian forces. So the Ukrainian forces has been basically kicked out of the Citadel region, and yeah, it's pretty bad. And I think that the Ukrainian forces might attempt to retreat, or they might actually just continue to counterattack with sending more reinforcement into this region here to try to hold for as long as possible along the forest line, which is quite long here. And they might actually attempt to try to counterattack back against the Russian forces. But whether they will do it is anyone's guess, because the Russians seems to have surged within the Bakhmut city. They have sent in reinforcement. Reportedly, allegedly, is the VDV, the airborne forces, to support the Wagner offensive, which is why the progress through the entire of this Citadel region has been really fast. It's way faster than I expected. Even the penetration through the last line of defense has also been much faster than anyone expected. There's a geolocation of Ukrainian forces at this position according to SITREP maps and CRIS 759, and this shows that the Ukrainians do have some presence in this area here, corroborating that the front line has not passed through this area just yet. And this also shows that the Russian forces that previously have these salients did not manage to go through. This did not happen. And over at the southwestern part, the Russian forces are attacking this around the MiG-17 monument region. And based on the latest information from SITREP maps, the Russian forces managed to capture the region, the low-lying region next to this college, this industrial college, just off. So they have managed to capture this part. They managed to capture this part and flushing out with the Tchaikovskogo Street, and leaving the only stronghold left for the Ukrainians, which is actually this sector here. This sector is also nicknamed the Tertris sector by either the Wagner forces or by pro-Russian sources. I got a feeling that this actually is coming from this is actually named by the Wagner forces, which is then used by the pro-Russian sources. So the main stronghold currently for the Ukrainians is actually all these high buildings, which the Russians have managed to recapture a few times, and one of these buildings has been destroyed because the Ukrainians actually blew it up. So, but it still remains to be a stronghold. You can still climb up the stairs hazardously, but no, you can still use it as a sniping position until you got wiped out by some airstrike. And so this is the remaining part that the Ukrainians do have a position on. This entire area on top is not exactly defendable, with the Russians are able to attack from two angles, and this is pretty flat. So it's just not looking very good for the Ukrainians. And that's all from the Bakhmut front. Moving away from the Bakhmut front, we have Ukrainian Sukhoi 24 shot down over Sloviansk, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And into the Siversk front, we have the Ukrainians attacking Sako Ivansete. This is actually a continuation of a previous attack that was paused. The Ukrainians actually attacked down the road. They managed to cross the Vasyukivka river, and they finally have broken through. And moving in, they have crossed the river and probably currently holding some positions around this line. So the Ukrainians are here. The Russians withdrew from this defensive position into the village, which is merely some forest and some small buildings that is probably all flattened by now. and the Ukrainians is most likely going to capture this village very, very soon. Other than that, moving into the other side of the Siversk front, we have nothing else. There's nothing happening over at the Siversk front. Moving into the Kreminna front, there is fighting around the Dibrova region. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, they engaged two sabotage and recon groups, basically recon forces, or basically just forces, just troops. And there's shelling reported near Kuzmine, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. And moving further up north, we have shelling reported near Ploschanka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. This is also rather very interesting. Yesterday I mentioned that the Ukrainians attacking Chervonopopivka, which is pretty, they haven't done that for a long time. So now they have some gathering of forces near Ploschanka that warrants an attack and shelling that actually made it into the reports. So we might actually see a revival of a Ukrainian offensive around the Ploschanka and Chervonopopivka region, with the attempt to capture these two strategically important town and village that will allow the Ukrainians to cut off this road of resupply that goes all the way to Kreminna from Russia. Moving further into the Sviatove front, we have nothing happening being reported at Sviatove. And over at the Kupiansk front, this is Kupiansk, and at Kupiansk, we have this Kupiansk, as you can see, this Kupiansk. There's shelling being reported at Kotlyarivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, and and also at Novolinsk. Just when I was reporting yesterday saying that maybe the Ukrainians gave up on crossing the river, we have Russian Defense Ministry report saying that they bombarded Novolimsk, which is actually across the Outskirts river. So maybe there are still Ukrainian forces around here that may want to cross over. We shall see how this goes. Definitely the Russians have defense lines along this forest line that will be waiting for the Ukrainians to cross. So anyway, we shall wait and see. And that is the summary for the day of 449 for the 18th of May. And thank you for those that are part of the DPA Army NCOs and officer corps, the sergeants, the officers and generals. Thank you for your support. And for those that want to support DPA's work, do check out and the Patreons, the Boosty and whatnot. And with your support, then we will actually be less vulnerable to the YouTube's control and demonetization, which actually threatens my livelihood. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.